My mother's smirk spreads across her face before her palm connects with my cheek, right in the middle of the living room of the house that bears my name on the deed. The sound echoes over the jazz music, past the champagne flutes, through the crowd of 60 witnesses who suddenly forget how to breathe. "You should know your place," my father says, adjusting his cufflinks while I taste copper in my mouth. I walk to the bar, unlock the safe beneath it, and place a manila folder on the marble counter. When I grab the microphone, my fingers don't shake anymore. The room learns what happens when you sign documents you don't bother to read. My name is Nora Caldwell, and I learned in Afghanistan that supply lines determine victory. Now, at 34, I manage logistics for Horizon Bridge in Pennsylvania, but the real battle happens in my childhood home, or what used to be theirs before I bought it. The party house sits on Maple Ridge Drive in Fox Ridge, a Victorian I purchased 18 months ago when the previous owner fled foreclosure. 3 stories of original hardwood and stained glass that I restored myself. Every weekend spent stripping paint and replacing copper pipes. My parents, Patrick and Lorraine, call it our family achievement. They forget whose name appears on the mortgage documents. I discover the first crack in our family foundation on a Tuesday evening at 11:45 p.m., reconciling accounts in my home office. The Caldwell Heritage Fund shows withdrawals I never authorized $42,000 over 6 months. My signature appears on transfer forms I've never seen. The handwriting loop's wrong, the way someone might forge when they've practiced your name but never understood how you hold a pen. Patrick, my father, owns a failing auto parts store downtown, the kind where dust settles on inventory nobody wants anymore. He speaks of sacrifice, of working his fingers raw to put me through college. He omits the ROTC scholarship that paid my way, the deployment bonuses I sent home, the 10 years of monthly transfers labeled family support. Lorraine keeps photo albums documenting my achievements: homecoming queen, battalion commander, project manager of the year. She displays them at church functions, her manicured fingers tracing my accomplishments while explaining how her guidance shaped my success. The same fingers that withdrew $8,000 for treatments at a Turniskin medical spa last month, charged to the family fund I thought supported Patrick's store. The second crack appears in an email from Riverside Pike Casino's VIP services, mistakenly sent to my address instead of Patrick's. "Congratulations on reaching platinum status. Your current balance stands at negative $18,000. The timestamp reads 3:15 a.m. On a night he claimed to be visiting my sick Uncle Raymond in Scranton. I pull the property records next. The party house my house appears as collateral on a loan application with Meridian Financial. Preliminary approval pending, contingent on owner signature. The owner being me, except I've never spoken to Meridian Financial. The application references a power of attorney I supposedly signed in 2015, during my deployment to Kandahar. I remember that document. Patrick brought it to my farewell dinner, insisted it would help them manage things while I served overseas. "Just household expenses," he promised. "Utilities and maintenance." Young and trusting, I signed between bites of Lorraine's pot roast, never requesting a copy. The Fox Ridge November air bites through my office window. Outside, neighbors prepare for Thanksgiving, hanging lights and inflating decorations. The party house will host our family gathering. Lorraine already sent invitations to 60 relatives, advertising Nora's beautiful historic home and celebrating American values of family and gratitude. She's ordered catering on my credit card. The receipt arrives in my inbox $4,000 for elegant dining experience befitting the Caldwell legacy. The same week, they claim Patrick's store can't afford inventory for Black Friday sales. I examine more statements. The pattern emerges like supply routes on a tactical map. Money flows from my accounts to theirs, then vanishes into casino debts, medical spas, a lease on a BMW that sits in their garage. They've built their lifestyle on my foundation, brick by brick, transfer by transfer, signature by forged signature. The party house was supposed to be sanctuary. After my divorce from Marcus, another story of financial betrayal, I needed something entirely mine. Every restored molding, every period-appropriate fixture, every carefully chosen paint color represents my independence. Now, Patrick and Lorraine treat it like their personal venue, hosting book clubs and poker nights without asking, giving tours to their friends as if they hold the deed. Tomorrow, they arrive early to help prepare for Thanksgiving. Lorraine will rearrange my furniture, criticize my table settings, invite additional guests without warning. Patrick will hold court in my study, pouring my whiskey for his buddies while describing his business acumen. They'll perform their usual show, the devoted parents who sacrificed everything, visiting their successful daughter who owes them her achievements. But I've learned something since Afghanistan. In logistics, you track every resource, document every movement, plan for every contingency. You never leave supply lines vulnerable to enemy control. I close my laptop and walk through the party house, my footsteps echoing on floors I personally refinished. In the basement safe, behind restoration receipts and deployment medals, I keep copies of every financial document from the past decade. Tomorrow, when they arrive with their demands and their entitled smirks, they'll find their supply lines already cut. The war comes home to Fox Ridge, and I control the battlefield. The party house thrums with 60 bodies generating heat that fogs the restored windows. Thanksgiving evening, 7:30 p.m. And Lorraine orchestrates her performance from my kitchen island, where she's arranged herself like a general surveying territory. The smell of catered turkey mingles with her Chanel No. 5, creating a nauseating cloud that follows her as she intercepts every compliment about my home. "We taught Nora the value of property," she tells my Aunt Margaret, fingers drumming on granite I selected myself. Patrick and I practically designed this renovation. I stand by the fireplace, watching Patrick work the room with a crystal tumbler of my 30-year Macallan. He's telling his favorite story, how he worked double shifts to afford my first car. He omits that I bought that Honda Civic with combat pay, that his double shifts were poker games at Riverside Pike. Nora needs to thank her parents, Cousin Daniel suggests, already 3 bourbons deep. Make a speech about family values. The crowd murmurs agreement. Lorraine's smile sharpens as she glides toward me, pressing a microphone into my hand. The rental company's wireless system another $400 on my card. "Go ahead, sweetheart," she purrs loud enough for everyone to hear. "Tell them how grateful you are." Patrick appears at my other side, producing a document from his jacket. "While you're at it, sign this family support agreement, just formalizing what we've always done." His breath carries scotch and entitlement. "Unless you're too good for family now." I glance at the paper. It's a guarantee for a $100,000 loan using the party house as collateral. The signature line waits below language about honoring parental sacrifice and maintaining family unity. I'm not signing this. The music continues jazz standards I didn't choose, but conversations pause. Forks hover between plates and mouths. Patrick's face darkens. After everything we've done, the sacrifices we made. Which sacrifices? My voice carries through the wireless system. The $42,000 you stole from my accounts. The gambling debts at Riverside Pike. Lorraine moves fast for someone in heels. Her palm connects with my left cheek, a crack that echoes off the coffered ceiling. The force snaps my head sideways, and I taste copper where my teeth cut inner cheek tissue. The room gasps collectively, phones appearing in hands, cameras focusing. She smirks that particular expression she's perfected over 40 years of manipulation. "You won't do anything about it. You never do." My cheek burns, nerve endings firing in waves that pulse with my heartbeat. I feel the heat spreading. Know the mark will be visible for days. Around us, relatives shift uncomfortably, but nobody intervenes. This is Caldwell family dynamics. We don't interfere, don't acknowledge, don't protect. "You're a disappointment," Patrick adds, straightening his tie. "But you'll sign. You always cave eventually." I set down the microphone carefully, aware of every eye tracking my movement. My fingers find the spot where Lorraine's wedding ring caught skin, a small split already swelling. The party dress I bought specifically for tonight feels like armor that's failed. "You should be grateful," Lorraine announces to the audience. "We gave her everything. Private tutors, dance lessons, college preparation, and this is how she repays us. Aunt Margaret nods sympathetically. Uncle Raymond mutters about kids these days. My cousins avoid eye contact, suddenly fascinated by their dessert plates. I walk to the kitchen, each step measured despite the trembling in my legs. The caterers freeze as I pass, witnessing the red mark blooming across my face. In the freezer, I find ice wrapped in a Williams-Sonoma towel, another purchase Lorraine made with my credit card. The cold helps, but the humiliation burns hotter. Through the pass-through window, I watch them spin the narrative. Lorraine dabs at dry eyes while Patrick comforts her, the devoted parents wounded by their ungrateful daughter. He waves the loan document like evidence of my betrayal. She's always been difficult, Lorraine tells her sister. Even as a child, we tried so hard, gave up so much. The party continues around my absence. Someone raises a toast to Patrick and Lorraine. The parents who never gave up? Glasses clink in my dining room. Under the chandelier I spent 3 weeks restoring. Officer Ray Dunham, my neighbor, catches my eye from the hallway. He's off duty, invited as a courtesy, but his expression shifts to professional assessment. He photographs my face with his phone, subtle enough that others don't notice. Document everything, he mouths. At 9:45 p.m., I stand in my bathroom, cataloging damage in the mirror. The handprint shows clearly 4 fingers and a palm in red against pale skin. My phone camera captures it from multiple angles. The split from her ring needs antibiotic ointment. Downstairs, Patrick's voice booms through my floorboards. He's found my father's old Navy photos in my study, passing them around as his own accomplishments. Lorraine has moved to my bar, pouring generous drinks from bottles she didn't buy, playing hostess in my home. I pull out my phone and text Ava Torres. It happened. They escalated. Her response comes immediately. Recording devices ready. Ellis on standby. Your move. Lieutenant. Through my bedroom window, I watch relatives load into cars, carrying to-go boxes of food I paid for, discussing the family drama they witnessed. None will take my side publicly, but they all saw Lorraine strike me. They all heard Patrick's threats. I return downstairs as the last guests leave. My parents remain, planted in my living room like invasive species. We're staying tonight, Lorraine announces. Someone needs to teach you respect. No, the word drops between us like ordnance. You're leaving. Patrick stands, the loan document crumpled in his fist. This is family property. This is my house. Get out. They don't move. The smirk returns to Lorraine's face, the same expression she wore before striking me. She thinks she's won, that public humiliation will force my compliance. She's wrong. In logistics, we call this the point of no return when supply lines are cut and retreat becomes impossible. They've shown their hand, revealed their tactics, demonstrated their cruelty before witnesses. Tomorrow, I begin the counteroffensive. The family group chat explodes at 6:15 a.m., the morning after Thanksgiving. Lorraine has crafted her narrative with the precision of a propaganda campaign, heartbroken by our daughter's behavior. After everything we sacrificed, she threw us out of the family home on Thanksgiving. Pray for healing. Responses flood in. Aunt Margaret offers sympathy. Cousin Beth suggests family counseling. Uncle Raymond declares I need to learn respect. Nobody mentions the slap. By 7 a.m., Patrick adds his version. Nora has forgotten where she comes from. We're considering removing her from our will. The irony burns. They have nothing to leave except debt and delusion. I document everything. Screenshots filed in a folder labeled Evidence. My coffee grows cold as I review bank statements on my laptop. The pattern becomes clearer with each transaction. They've been escalating for 2 years, ever since my divorce finalized and the settlement came through. That money compensation for Marcus's infidelity and financial deception became their target. At 9:30 a.m., I arrive at Horizon Bridge's empty office. Holiday weekend means privacy to use the industrial scanner. Every forged document, Every unauthorized transfer, every casino receipt gets digitized in high resolution. The paper trail tells a story of systematic theft disguised as family support. Lorraine texts, "Your behavior yesterday was unacceptable. We're taking the family heirlooms from the house. You don't deserve them." The heirlooms she references sit in my basement safe photo albums, my grandmother's jewelry, my service medals, items I stored there specifically to protect them from Patrick's gambling habits. She has no legal right to them, but that's never stopped her before. By noon, I discover they've already been to the house. The spare key I foolishly gave them for emergencies let them in while I worked. They took the photo albums, my grandmother's pearl necklace, even my deployment flag. The security camera I installed last month captured everything Patrick jimmying my safe while Lorraine stood watch. They also left something behind, a new loan application, this time for $200,000, with my signature already forged at the bottom. The audacity stops my breath. They're accelerating their timeline, desperate to cash out before I can stop them. I call my bank, voice steady despite the rage burning through my chest. I need to freeze all accounts with any secondary access. Yes, immediately. No exceptions for family members. The representative pauses. "Ma'am, there was an attempted wire transfer this morning at 8:45. $50,000 to an account ending in 4973. It was flagged for verification. Patrick's casino account. They tried to drain my savings while I dealt with their public smear campaign. At 2 p.m., Ava Torres meets me at a diner outside Fox Ridge. She slides a tablet across the booth, showing bank records she's traced through her forensic networks. Your parents have been running this con for years, she says, stirring black coffee. Look, they did the same thing to your Uncle Raymond in 2018, forged his signature on a home equity loan. He never pressed charges because family doesn't sue family. The Caldwell way, I mutter, recognizing the pattern. Enable the abusers. Silence the victims. They're scheduling a family meeting for tomorrow, your Aunt Margaret's house. The agenda. She shows me a screenshot from Lorraine's Facebook, discussing Nora's mental health and potential intervention. The humiliation tactic. Paint me as unstable. Rally the family to pressure me into compliance. Classic Lorraine. Ellis Marlowe calls while we're reviewing documents. I've drawn up the paperwork. Cease and desist for the identity theft. Demand letter for stolen items. And a creative solution for the family meeting. Can you meet Monday morning? Sunday arrives with 17 missed calls from various relatives. The family meeting happens at 3 p.m., but I don't attend. Instead, I change every lock on the party house, install additional cameras, and move the remaining valuables to a storage unit across town. The group chat documents their meeting in real time. Lorraine performs victimhood while Patrick presents financial documents all fabricated showing money they've lent me over the years. Cousin Beth suggests maybe I'm having a breakdown from the divorce. Aunt Margaret wonders if I'm on drugs. My phone rings Uncle Raymond. I know what they did, he says quietly. Same thing they did to me. I was too scared to fight back, but you're stronger. Do what needs to be done. At 8 p.m., I sit in my secured house, reviewing 2 years of evidence. The theft totals $93,000, not counting attempted transfers and forged loans. The casino debts reach $60,000. The aesthetic procedures at Eterniskin $15,000 for Lorraine's maintenance. They've built their entire lifestyle on my earnings, my credit, my trust. The party house they treat as theirs, I pay the mortgage. The BMW in their garage purchased with my bonus. The vacation to Turks and Caicos last spring charged to my American Express. Patrick texts at 11:50 p.m. You have 1 week to apologize and sign the loan documents, or we'll tell everyone about your breakdown. Mental illness runs in families, you know. Would be a shame if Horizon Bridge heard about your instability. The threat clarifies everything. They'll destroy my reputation, my career, my future, all to maintain their parasitic lifestyle. The slap was just the beginning, a test to see if public humiliation would break me. Lorraine adds her own message. We made you. We can unmake you just as easily. I screenshot everything, add it to the evidence folder, and forward it to Ellis. Her response comes immediately despite the late hour. Perfect. They've just given us written extortion. The forensic accountant will have her report ready Tuesday. We're going to destroy them legally and publicly. I touch my cheek where Lorraine's hand landed. The swelling has faded, but the memory burns fresh. They think they've won. That family loyalty will protect them, that I'll crumble under social pressure. They're wrong. In the army, we learned about total war defeating an enemy completely, leaving no capacity for counterattack. My parents declared war when they struck me in my own home. Now I'll show them what victory looks like. Monday morning, 8 sharp. I sit in Ellis Marlowe's office at Marlowe and Pike, surrounded by the architecture of revenge. Legal books line mahogany shelves while Ellis arranges documents across her conference table like battle plans. Her assistant brings coffee in china cups that probably cost more than Patrick's monthly casino losses. Financial abuse in families is more common than people think, Ellis says, adjusting her wire-frame glasses. But your parents made a critical mistake. They documented everything. Ava Torres dials in via secure video link from her home office, 3 monitors glowing behind her. I've traced 17 shell accounts they've used. The Caldwell Heritage Fund is just the beginning. They've been running money through a landscaping business that doesn't exist, a charity that's never filed proper paperwork, and get this, a consulting firm registered to your Social Security number. Identity theft, wire fraud, forgery. Ellis lists, fingers dancing across her tablet. Each carries federal charges, but we're going to offer them something better first. She produces a document titled Family Financial Reconciliation Agreement, 20 pages of legal precision disguised as olive branch. Here's the trap, Ellis explains, her smile sharp as winter ice. This agreement offers to forgive their debts if they sign a full confession and agree to specific terms. No contact with your finances, no access to your property, no defamation. But buried in Clause 17B, if they violate any term after signing, all forgiven debts become immediately due with 18% interest, plus damages. They'll never read that far, I say, knowing my parents' arrogance. Exactly. And we'll present it at their anniversary party. Public signing. Witnesses everywhere. They can't claim coercion when they're surrounded by celebrating relatives. Officer Ray Dunham joins us at 9:30. Off duty, but in full uniform for effect. I've filed a report about the slap. Domestic violence, even between adult family members, creates a paper trail. If they escalate, we have grounds for a protection order. Speaking of escalation, Ava interjects through the screen. I've installed micro cameras in items we know they'll take from the party house during the anniversary setup. The centerpieces Lorraine ordered, the photo frames she'll insist on displaying. Everything transmits to a secure cloud server. We refine the plan over 3 hours. Ellis handles the legal architecture while Ava manages surveillance and digital evidence. Ray coordinates with local law enforcement, ensuring rapid response if needed. I focus on the psychological warfare, understanding my parents' weaknesses, their need for public admiration, their terror of humiliation. At 1 p.m., I stop by Fox Ridge Community Bank to meet with the branch manager, Jennifer Holstead. She reviews my accounts with growing alarm. These unauthorized access attempts, there have been 47 in the past 6 months. Why didn't you report this sooner? Family, I say simply, and she nods with the understanding of someone who's seen this before. We're implementing additional security protocols, 2-factor authentication, verbal passwords, and a flag requiring in-person verification for any transaction over $5,000. Your parents are now officially listed as security risks. Tuesday brings the forensic accountant's report. Melinda Sharp, a small woman with predator's eyes, walks me through 200 pages of financial autopsy. Total theft, $93,000, $412. Attempted theft, additional $230,000. Lost interest and credit damage, approximately $18,000. If we factor in emotional distress and punitive damages, you're looking at a legitimate claim exceeding $400,000. I don't want their money, I tell her. They don't have any. I want their confession. Then we make the number terrifying enough that signing your agreement seems like mercy. Wednesday, I hire Creative Edge Events to assist with the anniversary party planning. In reality, they're installing the infrastructure for public humiliation, a professional sound system with recording capability, a projection setup that can display documents instantly, lighting that ensures every facial expression gets captured on the dozen cameras we're placing. Patrick calls Wednesday night, drunk and belligerent. "You ungrateful bitch. After everything we've done, you're destroying this family." I let him rant, the recording app capturing every threat. He promises to ruin my career, destroy my reputation, make sure I pay for this disrespect. Oh, Lorraine's voice echoes in the background, coaching his tirade. Thursday, the anniversary party invitations go out beautiful cards I designed myself, promising a celebration revealing the true foundation of the Caldwell family legacy. I pay for expedited printing and hand delivery to 63 relatives, ensuring everyone receives theirs by Friday morning. Lorraine texts within hours. "How dare you send invitations to our anniversary without permission?" "The party's at my house," I respond. "I'm honoring you properly." Her typing indicators pulse for 5 minutes before, "We'll discuss your behavior at the party." Publicly. Perfect. She's planning her own ambush, not realizing she's walking into mine. Friday afternoon, Ellis presents the final weapon, a compilation video Ava created from security footage, bank records, and audio recordings. 15 minutes of devastating evidence set to timeline graphics that any jury would understand. "We play this if they refuse to sign," Ellis says. "Nuclear option? They'll sign," I predict. "Their egos won't allow public humiliation." Ray Dunham stops by Friday evening to review security plans. "I'll have 2 off-duty officers as guests. If your father gets physical, we intervene immediately." "He won't," I say, remembering Patrick's cowardice when confronted by authority. "He only fights those he thinks can't fight back." Saturday morning arrives gray and cold, fitting weather for an execution. The party starts at 6 p.m., but I know my parents will arrive at 3 to prepare, meaning establish dominance in my space. I dress carefully, a black sheath dress that suggests mourning. Pearl earrings my grandmother left me retrieved from Lorraine's theft, and the watch I earned with my first deployment. Every piece armor against what's coming. At 2:45 p.m., my phone buzzes with Ava's text. "Cameras live. Ellis en route. Your parents just left their house." "Game time, Lieutenant?" I stand in my party house, surrounded by elegant decorations that mask recording equipment and projection systems. The anniversary cake waits in the kitchen, 3 tiers of pristine white, hiding the bitter truth about to be served. Tonight, 40 years of marriage will be commemorated with the destruction of 40 years of lies. Tonight, in front of everyone they've performed for, Patrick and Lorraine Caldwell will learn what happens when you strike your daughter in her own home. Tonight, the war ends. 3 p.m. arrives with the rumble of Patrick's BMW in my driveway, the one purchased with my forged signature on the loan documents. Lorraine emerges first, carrying a box of silver-framed photos showcasing their version of history. Patrick follows with a case of champagne he'll claim he bought, but will charge to the party expenses. "The decorations are wrong," Lorraine announces before she's fully through my door. "Too modern." We need classic elegance for our milestone. I watch her rearrange the centerpieces, not knowing each one contains Ava's micro cameras. She positions them perfectly, every angle covering the main floor. Patrick commandeers my study, spreading family documents across my desk. They're props for his planned speech about building the Caldwell legacy. "Sign this before guests arrive," he says at 3:30, sliding the loan document toward me. "We'll announce it during the toast's family solidarity, investing in the future." "I have a better idea," I say, producing Ellis's reconciliation agreement from my briefcase. "Let's formalize our family financial relationship properly. This protects everyone." Patrick barely glances at it. "Legal mumbo-jumbo. We don't need lawyers between family." Then signing should be easy. I place an Mont Blanc pen beside the document, another purchase Lorraine made on my card. Unless you're planning something that would require lawyers later. Lorraine's eyes narrow, but the doorbell interrupts. Aunt Margaret arrives early, as always, clutching a gift bag and gossip. Within an hour, the house fills with relatives positioning themselves for the show. At 5:15, Ellis arrives dressed like a guest but carrying a briefcase. She sets up at my dining room table, documents arranged with surgical precision. The projector hums quietly in the corner, connected to Ava's laptop via encrypted connection. "What's all this?" Cousin Beth asks, champagne already flushing her cheeks. "Family business documents," Ellis responds smoothly. Nora's ensuring everything's properly handled for her parents' future. Patrick preens at this, interpreting it as capitulation. He signs the signature page of Ellis's agreement without reading, his flourish captured by 3 different cameras. There. Happy now. "Lorraine needs to sign too," I say, keeping my voice neutral despite my racing pulse. My mother approaches, suspicion evident in every step. She actually picks up the document, flips through pages. But vanity wins, guests are watching, and refusing would look strange. She signs with her practiced signature, the one she's used on dozens of my forged documents. "Witnessed at 5:32 p.m., Ellis announces. "By everyone present, the agreement is now binding." Ray Dunham and his 2 off-duty colleagues position themselves strategically by exits, near Patrick, within intervention distance. They're just guests enjoying champagne, but their presence adds weight to the room. 6 p.m. brings the remaining guests. The party house glows with warm light and calculated revenge. Lorraine holds court by the fireplace, describing their early marriage struggles, how they sacrificed everything for their ungrateful daughter. "We could have had careers," she tells anyone listening, "but we chose family. We chose Nora." Patrick works the bar, pouring my liquor while lamenting the burden of parenthood. "Kids today don't understand sacrifice," he says to Uncle Raymond, who catches my eye and nods slightly, his signal of support. At 6:45, Creative Edge's event coordinator hands me the wireless microphone. "It's time for the toast, Ms. Caldwell." I stand before the assembled crowd, my parents glowing with anticipated triumph. They expect public submission, an apology, probably tears. The bruise on my cheek has faded to yellow-green, concealed under foundation but still tender when I smile. 40 years of marriage, I begin, letting admiration color my voice. 4 decades of partnership. Tonight, we celebrate truth. Applause ripples through the room. Patrick raises his glass prematurely. My parents taught me valuable lessons about documentation, about contracts, about reading the fine print. Lorraine's smile flickers. Patrick lowers his glass. "For instance, this agreement they just signed." Ellis holds up the document. "A comprehensive financial reconciliation that includes some interesting clauses." "What are you doing?" Lorraine hisses, but the microphone catches it. "Clause 12 acknowledges receipt of $93,000 in family support from me. Clause 17B states that any defamation, harassment, or attempted financial manipulation triggers immediate repayment with interest." "You tricked us," Patrick starts forward, but Ray Dunham shifts position, a subtle reminder of authority. "Clause 23, I continue, includes a full confession of identity theft, signed willingly in front of witnesses." The room murmurs. Phones appear, recording the drama. Lorraine's carefully constructed image cracks. "But here's my favorite part." I nod to Ava, who starts the projection. "Security footage from Thanksgiving." The slap plays on the wall, Lorraine's hand connecting with my face, the sound echoing through speakers. Gasps erupt from relatives who'd heard her version, but now see truth in high definition. "Elder abuse," someone whispers, getting the relationship wrong but the horror right. "There's more," I say, as bank statements fill the screen. 47 unauthorized access attempts, forged signatures, a landscaping business that doesn't exist, casino debts hidden behind family funds. Patrick lunges for the projector, but Officer Dunham's colleague intercepts smoothly. "Sir, please remain calm." "She's lying!" Lorraine shrieks, abandoning her composed facade. "This is all fabrication." "Then you won't mind if we verify with Riverside Pike Casino." I pull up Patrick's platinum status email. -18,000 currently owed, charged to cards opened in my name without authorization. Aunt Margaret drops her champagne. Uncle Raymond nods knowingly. Cousin Beth records everything, the family gossip transformed into evidence. "The theft stops tonight," I announce. "The house they've been using for parties mine alone. The BMW being repossessed Monday. The credit cards frozen as of 5:33 p.m. 1 minute after they signed." "You can't do this." Patrick's face purples. "We're your parents." Parents who stole $93,000. Parents who committed felony identity theft. Parents who slapped me in my own home. Ellis steps forward. "Mr. and Mrs. Caldwell, you have two options. Honor the agreement you signed: no contact with Nora's finances, no access to her property, no defamation or face criminal prosecution for fraud, identity theft, and extortion." The room watches my parents crumble. Their 40-year performance ends not with applause but with horror from their audience. The relatives they've manipulated for decades see them clearly criminals in anniversary attire. "Get out of my house," I say quietly, but the microphone ensures everyone hears. "As of this moment, you're trespassing." Lorraine starts to speak, but Ellis raises a hand. "Anything you say can be used in the criminal case. I suggest you leave." They exit in silence. Their anniversary ruined, their reputation destroyed, their daughter lost but finally free. The assembled relatives part like water, nobody offering comfort or support. Ray Dunham escorts them to their car, not the BMW, which I've already reported stolen since my forged signature procured it. They leave in Lorraine's 10-year-old Toyota, the one they could actually afford. The party continues without them, subdued but somehow cleaner. Relatives approach one by one, admitting they suspected, apologizing for silence, sharing their own stories of Patrick and Lorraine's manipulations. At 8 p.m., Ava texts, "All recorded, all backed up, complete victory." At 8:30, Uncle Raymond raises a toast to Nora for doing what I couldn't. At 9, the party ends with my parents' anniversary cake untouched, their photos removed from walls, their presents erased from my home. Victory tastes like champagne and freedom, with a hint of satisfied revenge. The party house empties slowly, relatives lingering to process what they've witnessed. I stand in my foyer at 9:15 p.m., accepting awkward goodbyes and veiled apologies from family members who enabled my parents for decades. The anniversary decorations mock the evening's real celebration, my liberation. Ellis packs her briefcase with practiced efficiency. They have 72 hours to comply with the agreement. Any violation triggers the criminal referral. They'll violate it, I predict. Narcissists can't help themselves. I'm right. At 11:43 p.m., the first breach arrives via family group chat. Lorraine posts, devastated by tonight's betrayal. Mental illness runs in families. Nora needs help, not encouragement for these delusions. Defamation. Strike one. Ava captures the screenshot before Lorraine deletes it 5 minutes later, not understanding that digital forensics don't forget. The evidence joins our growing prosecution file. Sunday morning brings Patrick's voice on my voicemail, recorded at 2:17 a.m. Bourbon slurred but legally admissible. "You think you've won, I'll destroy you. Your employer will know what kind of psychotic bitch you are. Every client, every colleague. You'll be unemployable when I'm done. Extortion and threats. Strike two. At noon, my security cameras catch them in my driveway. They don't exit their car, Lorraine's Toyota, but Patrick photographs the house while she takes notes, planning something, but smart enough to avoid trespassing. Yet, Monday arrives with coordinated assault. At 8:30 a.m., My manager at Horizon Bridge calls me into his office. HR received a concerning call about your mental stability. Your father claims you're having a breakdown. I hand him Ellis's prepared folder. My parents are under investigation for identity theft. This is retaliation. Here's the documentation. He reviews the police reports, the signed agreement, the forensic accounting. His expression shifts from concern to anger. They called our client relations department too, said you're embezzling. Check my accounts. Full transparency. Meanwhile, here's evidence of their theft from my personal finances. By 10 a.m., Horizon Bridge's legal department issues a cease and desist letter to my parents. The company doesn't tolerate fraud, especially when it threatens their reputation. Strike 3 arrives at 1 p.m. when the bank calls. Someone attempted to access your safe deposit box with a forged power of attorney. We've detained them for police. Patrick. He actually tried to break into my safe deposit box in person, not knowing I'd flagged it for maximum security. Officer Dunham arrests him at 1:37 p.m., while Lorraine screams about persecution in the bank lobby. Attempted fraud, violation of a legal agreement, criminal trespass at a financial institution. Ray lists the charges while Patrick deflates. The magistrate will see you tomorrow. Ellis files the criminal complaint that afternoon. The agreement they signed becomes evidence of their guilt. They acknowledged the thefts, then immediately violated the terms that would have protected them from prosecution. Tuesday's preliminary hearing unfolds in the cramped district courthouse. Patrick appears in county-issued clothing, his BMW confidence replaced with bewilderment. Lorraine sits in the gallery, designer outfit clashing with institutional furniture. The prosecutor, Janet Reeves, lays out the case with ruthless efficiency. $93,000 in proven theft. Identity fraud across multiple instances. Signed confession in the reconciliation agreement. Immediate violation of said agreement through defamation, extortion, and attempted fraud. Patrick's public defender, overwhelmed and underprepared, requests a recess. During the break, I watch my parents huddle with their attorney, reality finally penetrating their delusion. When court resumes, they plead not guilty, but bail is set at $50,000, each money they don't have without stealing from me. Lorraine approaches after the hearing, tears finally genuine. Please, Nora, we're your parents. No, I respond, my voice carrying across the courthouse steps where local reporters gather. Parents protect. You exploited. Parents support. You stole. Parents love. You manipulated. Wednesday brings consequences. The BMW gets repossessed from their driveway while neighbors watch. The credit cards they've been using shut down mid-purchase at the grocery store. The country club membership paid with my money gets revoked when the theft becomes public knowledge. Thursday, the family group chat implodes. Aunt Margaret admits Patrick borrowed $30,000 from her in 2016, never repaid. Cousin Daniel reveals Lorraine sold him investment opportunities that never existed. Uncle Raymond finally shares his story, the house they almost stole through forged documents. The pattern emerges 40 years of grift, hidden behind parental authority and family loyalty. Friday afternoon, Patrick's auto parts store closes. Without my money floating the business and with his reputation destroyed, creditors call in debts. The commercial lease gets terminated. Inventory gets liquidated. His legacy becomes bankruptcy paperwork. Saturday marks 1 week since the anniversary party. I sit in my party house, no longer checking locks obsessively or jumping at doorbell rings. The restraining order Ellis obtained means they can't come within 500 feet of me or my property. Ava visits, bringing wine and war stories from our deployment. You executed a perfect operation, she says, raising her glass. Complete enemy destruction with minimal casualties. One casualty, I correct, touching my cheek where phantom pain from the slap lingers. The daughter they thought they owned. Sunday's newspaper runs a feature story, Local Family Fraud Case, exposes hidden epidemic of financial elder abuse. The journalist got it backwards. I'm not elderly. My parents aren't young, but the exposure serves its purpose. Patrick and Lorraine Caldwell become cautionary tales, their photos accompanying warnings about family fraud. Monday, 2 weeks post-party. Ellis calls with an update. They want to deal, full restitution over 10 years, no jail time. Counter-offer, I respond. Full confession, publicly posted, 5 years of restitution. 200 hours of community service at financial fraud prevention programs, and they legally disown me, no claims to inheritance, no familial rights, nothing. That's harsh. That's justice. Wednesday, they accept. The signing happens in Ellis's office. My parents looking older, smaller, defeated. They initial every page of their confession, agree to every term of restitution, surrender every claim to my life. Why? Lorraine asks as she signs the final page. We're your parents. That's why, I answer. Parents should mean safety, not sabotage, love, not larceny. You perverted the most fundamental trust, so you forfeit the most fundamental connection. They leave separately, Patrick to his brother's basement, Lorraine to her sister's spare room. Their 40-year marriage doesn't survive the demolition of their 40-year con. Thursday evening, I host a real celebration at the party house. Ava, Ellis, Ray Dunham, Uncle Raymond, and the few relatives who stood by me. We toast with champagne that I purchased, eat food that I chose, celebrate freedom that I fought for. At 11:59 p.m., I stand in my study, looking at the empty space where family photos once hung. Tomorrow, I'll fill those frames with images from my deployment, my achievements, my chosen family. The war is over. I won. The courtroom feels smaller with 60 family members packed into gallery rows. 3 weeks have passed since the anniversary party, and now comes the formal reckoning. I sit behind the prosecutor's table at 9 a.m. sharp, wearing the same pearls my grandmother left me, the ones Lorraine tried to steal. Judge Patricia Hernandez reviews the plea agreement with methodical precision. Mr. and Mrs. Caldwell, you understand that by accepting this agreement, you're admitting to systematic financial fraud, identity theft, and extortion. Patrick stands first, his court-appointed suit hanging loose on his diminished frame. Yes, Your Honor. Lorraine follows, her voice barely audible. Yes. The court has reviewed extensive evidence. Judge Hernandez continues, adjusting her reading glasses. Bank records showing $93,000 in unauthorized transfers, forged signatures on loan documents, security footage of physical assault. Mr. Caldwell, do you dispute any of this evidence? No, Your Honor. Mrs. Caldwell, no. The judge turns to me. Ms. Caldwell, the victim impact statement. I stand, my prepared notes trembling slightly in my hands. But when I speak, my voice carries clear and strong through the courtroom. Your Honor, financial abuse in families hides behind closed doors and shared surnames. For years, I believed their lies about sacrifice and struggle. Every deployment, I sent money home, thinking I was helping. Every promotion, they celebrated by increasing their theft. When I finally said no, they struck me in my own home, before witnesses, believing family loyalty would protect them from consequences. Aunt Margaret shifts uncomfortably. Uncle Raymond nods supportively. The court reporter's keys click steadily, documenting every word. They stole more than money. They stole trust, security, peace of mind. But today, that ends. Today, the secrets become public record. Today, accountability replaces enablement. Judge Hernandez nods. The court accepts the plea agreement with modifications. Mr. and Mrs. Caldwell, you will each serve 200 hours of community service at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau's Fraud Prevention Program, restitution of $93,000 over 5 years, with 12% interest, violation of the restraining order or any attempt to contact Ms. Caldwell results in immediate incarceration. Additionally, she continues, her voice hardening, this court orders public disclosure. Your confession will be posted on the county's fraud prevention website as a cautionary tale. You'll participate in 3 speaking engagements annually. Sharing your crimes with community groups. Shame may be your greatest teacher. Lorraine gasps. Public speaking about this. You seemed comfortable speaking publicly about your daughter at family gatherings. The judge observes. Now you'll speak publicly about your crimes. Court is adjourned. The gavel strikes at 9:47 a.m. Final and devastating. Outside the courthouse, reporters wait with cameras and questions. Patrick and Lorraine exit through the side door, but I walk straight out the front. Ms. Caldwell, how does it feel to prosecute your own parents? Necessary, I answer. Family shouldn't be a license for abuse. The story runs on the evening news. Local woman exposes parental fraud ring. Social media explodes with similar stories, thousands of adults discovering they're not alone in suffering financial abuse from family. That evening, Ellis meets me at the party house for final documentation. The civil suit proceeds separately. We're attaching liens to any assets they acquire until restitution is complete. What assets? I laugh bitterly. They spent everything they stole. Their Social Security, tax refunds, any inheritance they might receive. You'll get your money back, even if it takes decades. Saturday brings an unexpected visitor. Lorraine's sister, my Aunt Catherine, appears at my door at 2 p.m. with a box of photographs. These belong to you, she says, not meeting my eyes. Pictures from your childhood. Before they changed. I thought you might want them. I flip through fading Polaroids. A younger Patrick teaching me to ride a bike. Lorraine braiding my hair for first grade. Moments before gambling and greed poisoned everything. When did it start? I ask. Catherine sighs. Patrick's first bet was on your 5th birthday. He won $50 on a horse race and never stopped chasing that high. Lorraine started spending to compete with the country club wives. They fed each other's sickness. And everyone just watched. We thought it was harmless. Thought you were successful enough to support them. We didn't see the theft until you showed us. She pauses at the door. I'm sorry. Nora, we all failed you. Sunday's paper carries their first public confession, mandated by the court. The headline reads, We stole from our daughter a cautionary tale. The article details their schemes, their escalation, their downfall. Patrick's photo shows him hollow-eyed. Lorraine looks aged beyond her years. My phone buzzes with messages from military friends, colleagues, distant relatives expressing shock and support. But one text stands out, Marcus. My ex-husband saw the news. Now I understand why you never trusted joint accounts. I'm sorry for everything. I delete it without responding. That's another betrayal for another day. Monday morning. I return to work at Horizon Bridge to find flowers on my desk. The card reads, For courage, your team. My colleagues don't mention the news, but their support shows in small gestures, coffee refills, lunch invitations, offers to review contracts so I never miss forged signatures again. Tuesday marks their first community service session. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau emails me photos Patrick and Lorraine wearing volunteer vests, teaching seniors about fraud prevention. The irony is intentional and effective. Wednesday. I meet with a therapist for the first time. Dr. Sarah Martinez specializes in family trauma and financial abuse. You've won the legal battle, she observes. Now comes the emotional recovery. I don't feel victorious, I admit. Just empty. You've excavated 40 years of dysfunction in 40 days. Empty is normal. We'll rebuild from here. Thursday brings the demolition of their storage unit. The court-ordered asset search revealed a unit packed with items purchased with stolen funds, electronics, designer clothing, even a boat they never used. Everything gets auctioned for restitution. I attend the auction, watching strangers bid on the artifacts of my parents' greed. Lorraine's fur coat sells for $800. Patrick's golf clubs bring $300. Every dollar goes toward the $93,000 they owe me. Friday evening, I sit in my party house with Ava, watching the security footage from the anniversary party one last time before deleting it. You know what the best revenge is, Ava asks. Pouring wine? Living well? No. Living free? They'll spend 5 years paying you back, but you're already free. That's the real victory. Saturday. Exactly 1 month after the anniversary party, I host a different gathering. Uncle Raymond, Aunt Catherine, the cousins who stood by me, the friends who supported me. We don't mention Patrick or Lorraine. We don't discuss fraud or theft or family dysfunction. Instead, we celebrate new beginnings. I announce my promotion at Horizon Bridge Senior Director of Logistics with a salary that makes their theft seem even more pathetic. Uncle Raymond shares his own recovery from their fraud. Cousin Beth admits she started therapy to break family patterns. At 10 p.m., as guests leave, Uncle Raymond pulls me aside. Your grandmother would be proud. She never trusted Patrick with money either. Why didn't anyone warn me? Would you have believed us? Sometimes people need to discover truth themselves. The party house empties by 11. I lock the doors, new locks, installed after the restraining order, and survey my domain. Every room holds memories of their manipulation, but also my resistance. This house that they tried to steal has become my fortress. In my study, I file the court documents in a folder marked closed. The war is over. The enemy is defeated. The rebuilding begins now. My phone buzzes with one final text from Ellis. First restitution payment clears Monday. You won everything that matters. I pour a final glass of wine and toast the empty room. To Nora Caldwell, who refused to be a victim. The sound echoes off walls that will never again witness my exploitation. The party house stands silent at 11:59 p.m., exactly 2 months after the anniversary confrontation. I walk through each room, no longer checking locks obsessively or startling at shadows. The house breathes freely now, unburdened by their presence. In my office, the restitution tracker shows $8,000 recovered drops in an ocean, but proof that justice exists. The fraud prevention website features their confession as the top cautionary tale, with 40,000 views and counting. Comments pour in from adult children discovering they're not alone in parental exploitation. My phone no longer buzzes with their threats or manipulations. The restraining order holds firm. Patrick lives in his brother's basement in Delaware, working minimum wage at a hardware store. Lorraine rents a studio apartment 40 miles away, selling cosmetics door to door. Their 40-year marriage died with their 40-year con. Officer Ray Dunham stops by occasionally, checking in over coffee. No violations, he confirms. They know you'll prosecute if they even drive past your street. The family has fractured and reformed. Those who enabled them drift away, uncomfortable with accountability. But Uncle Raymond visits weekly, bringing war stories and wisdom. Aunt Catherine sends recipes and apologies. Cousin Beth started her own recovery from family dysfunction. We're building something new from the wreckage, relationships based on respect, not manipulation. At work, I've become the unofficial expert on financial security. Horizon Bridge implemented new protocols based on my experience. Colleagues seek advice on protecting assets from family fraud. My trauma transforms into teaching, helping others recognize red flags I missed for years. Dr. Martinez calls it post-traumatic growth. You've converted suffering into strength, she observes during our sessions. Not everyone manages that alchemy. Tonight, I'm hosting a different kind of party. Ava brings her new girlfriend. Ellis arrives with her partner and children. Ray Dunham brings his wife. Uncle Raymond escorts Aunt Catherine. Real family, chosen family, surrounding me in my reclaimed space. A toast. Uncle Raymond proposes at midnight sharp. To Nora, who broke the cycle. We raise glasses of champagne purchased honestly, consumed freely, celebrated genuinely. No hidden debts, forged signatures, or manipulated emotions. Just truth, transparent and liberating. After everyone leaves, I stand in my living room, remembering that Thanksgiving night, the slap that started everything. Lorraine's smirk before her palm connected with my cheek. Patrick's entitled rage when I refused to sign. They thought violence would break me. Instead, it freed me. I walked to the bar where I once placed evidence of their crimes. The safe beneath holds new documents now, my promotion letter, investment portfolios they can't touch, plans for the future they won't share. The manila folder of evidence has been replaced by possibility. My reflection in the mirror shows no bruises, no wounds, no scars. The woman looking back survived identity theft, financial fraud, physical assault, and psychological warfare from those who should have protected her. She emerged not just intact but improved stronger, wiser, freer. The party house belongs entirely to me now. Every mortgage payment comes from my account alone. Every decoration reflects my taste. Every guest arrives by my invitation. The space they tried to claim through deception has become my sanctuary through determination. I think about the daughter they raised, trusting, dutiful, eager to please. She died with that slap, replaced by someone harder but more honest. Someone who reads every contract, questions every transaction, trusts but verifies. Someone who knows that DNA doesn't determine loyalty and that family titles don't excuse exploitation. Patrick and Lorraine gave me life, but they also gave me the greatest gift through their betrayal, the knowledge that I can survive anything. Their theft taught me financial vigilance. Their lies taught me to document everything. Their violence taught me to fight back strategically. Their downfall taught me that justice, while slow, eventually arrives. Tomorrow marks the beginning of year 3 without them. The restitution will continue for 4 more years, monthly reminders of their crimes deposited directly into my rebuilt savings. But I've already recovered what matters most: my autonomy, dignity, and peace. I pour a final glass of wine and walk onto the back deck. The November air bites sharp and clean. Below, Fox Ridge sleeps peacefully, unaware of the war won within these walls. Neighbors who once witnessed my humiliation now see my victory. The woman they watched get slapped has become the woman who refused to stay down. My phone sits silent, no threatening messages, no manipulation, no guilt. The only notification shows tomorrow's calendar: therapy at 10 a.m., lunch with Ava at noon, evening free. A life reclaimed, minute by minute, choice by choice. I raise my glass to the cold stars above. To the girl who trusted too much, thank you for the lesson. To the parents who took everything, thank you for teaching me I could survive with nothing. To the family who stayed silent, thank you for showing me who really matters. The wine tastes like victory with notes of redemption. Inside, I lock the door one final time tonight, not from fear but from habit. The locks that once kept them out now simply mark boundaries mine to set, mine to enforce, mine to protect. I climb the stairs to my bedroom, each step taken in a house fully mine. No forged signatures threaten foreclosure. No stolen funds drain my security. No toxic presence poisons my peace. In bed, I review one last document, the legal disownment papers, signed and sealed. Patrick and Lorraine Caldwell have no daughter named Nora. The woman they slapped, stole from, and tried to break no longer exists in their world. She's been reborn as someone they created but could never control. Tomorrow, I'll wake in my party house and live my life. I'll work at a job they can't sabotage. I'll deposit paychecks they can't access. I'll build relationships they can't poison. I'll host gatherings they can't attend. The ultimate revenge isn't their poverty or public humiliation. It's my prosperity and peace without them. It's the knowledge that I needed their betrayal to discover my strength. It's the understanding that their absence improves every aspect of my existence. They gave me life. I gave them consequences. We're finally even. The party house settles into sleep, its owner finally, fully, free. Thank you so much for listening to this story of betrayal, resilience, and ultimate justice. I hope Nora's journey resonated with you, whether you've faced similar family challenges or simply appreciate a well-deserved revenge tale. Where are you listening from today? Drop a comment below and let's connect. I love hearing from listeners around the world. If this story touched you, please subscribe to the channel for more revenge stories that prove justice eventually prevails. Share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever had to stand up to family members who crossed the line? Your stories inspire future episodes. Until next time, remember, Family isn't about blood, it's about respect, and you always have the right to protect yourself from anyone who forgets that.